Hey guys, welcome back. In this week's video, not only will we be doing something we've never done before, we will be using techniques we've never used before and tools we've never used before. What could go wrong?
Welcome back to another week here with us at the Handy Creators.
Thank you so much for joining us.
If you're new here, my name's Adriana and this is my husband, Jesus. And we are just your average married couple who likes to do DIY projects at our house.
If you've seen the last few videos, we kicked off a whole palette series where we are challenging ourselves to make beautiful pieces of furniture and beautiful projects out of pallet wood. In last week's video, we made a kitchen island for my in-laws and it got us thinking, we gave them the island table. Why not make them some stools to go with it? We have selected the wood that we're planning on using and we're going to be milling these woods down and then using them to create this beautiful design that we came across on Pinterest and felt that we could do it.
So we're gonna be doing a version of these chairs that we found. They're not gonna be identical. We're making them more like stools for an island, so maybe a little taller legs but a shorter top. And my parents know nothing about this. We actually wanted to do this and give them the island with the chairs together, but time didn't allow us to. But it's perfect because she already found some chairs that she from her house to put on them, and she's like, yeah, because she's like, now I just need to like maybe go look for some stools to buy. And I'm like, In this video, we're gonna be doing a lot of new techniques and trying new stuff that we have purchased and new things out. We haven't done chairs. We did the lounge chairs for the back, but I mean, an actual chairs with skinny legs and stuff, like this is the first. It should be exciting. So yeah, let's just get started and join us in the process.
In this video, we will be implementing two new tools that we've never used before. Below here, we have a joiner that we purchased online, and we have never used a joiner before, but we have heard nothing but great things. And we are hoping that this and the planner are going to help us on straightening these boards out. We've used other techniques in the past and even made a few jigs for a table saw, but since this is such a fine type of furniture, we really wanted to perfect the wood as much as possible. So let's get both of these set up and then let's get to using them. Finally got the joiner all set up and we have been playing with it and think we have nailed down the technique. So I'm going to use the joiner to straighten one face of the board and then flip the board over and do the perpendicular side. That way we have a perfect 90-degree angle. And then Adriana's going to run it through the planner on the other side to have two parallel faces that are going to both be perfectly straight. And finally, we're going to go ahead and run it on the table saw to finish up that last edge. So let's do that and we'll see you in a few. So if you guys saw, planning ended up being a total fail. Not because the machine's bad, the machine's awesome. Like, we actually can't believe how great these cuts came out, but the amount of dust that it was lifting up everywhere was just horrible. So we are waiting for my father-in-law to bring us a shop vac, and in the meantime we're gonna start working on these cuts. We're going to be cutting all these woods down to size and continuing on the rest of this build while we wait for the shop vac to go ahead and finish joining and planning those other woods. We did want to make a special side note that this is the first time we use both of these tools and we are absolutely marveled at what actually came out. So if you come and take a closer look, these tools did such a marvelous job at planning and making these boards straight that these two boards were just sitting there and we were like, oh wow, where did this big board come from? And when we noticed, it was two. So it did a really good job of really flattening these boards to the point that when they're really next to each other, you could barely see the connection. And the same goes for these other woods. These are going to be the armrests, and you can see there that just me simply holding it down, the connections are just amazing. We are going to be cutting these down to size and then start working on the angled cuts for the armrests. with these cut down to size, we're gonna put the back panels to the side and start working on the angled cuts for these arms. To do the angled cut, we are going to measure 1/2 inch from one of the corners and draw a straight line from that marking all the way to the opposite corner. That way, when we cut it, it has just enough of an angle to give it a sleek design, but not too much because we're not trying to do a triangle. So we tried to make the cut on the jigsaw and unfortunately it didn't come out straight. Something about the blade, I still haven't figured out how it works. So we just came over to the table saw and did one and we liked how it came out. So we're just repeating that cut. We already did 2 of them. We're only missing 2 more. So let's do that. And then after that, we're gonna continue on with this project.
There's going to be a little bit of change of plans here and how we are going to be doing these chairs and this project. So initially we were going to be doing a glue up with all of the pallets that we have to make the actual seating part of the chair. We're having some issue planning them down. We left some of the little nails that were very tiny inside of the wood because a planner and a joiner weren't in the plans then. When we started planning them, we noticed that obviously if you have nails in there, the planner and the joiner are not going to do their job, right? So we are going to go with a completely different style for the actual part of the chair where you sit. Everything else will be remaining the same. We are going to leave that glue up for another video coming up ahead. So it is going to happen. You guys are going to see it. We are still going to be using scrap wood and pallets to do the chairs, but the technique of the glue up is going to be left for another week when we have more time to really explain to you guys and to do the job that it deserves. With that being said, I'm going to put on my weird mask again and let's get started.
As Adriana mentioned, we were going to do the glue up, but there's been a change of plan. We are going to grab this piece of 2x11 that we had left over from previous projects, and we're going to cut them down to size and do an open concept of seating area. As some of you may know, pine tends to contract and expand due to the humidity and moisture in the area. So we are going to grab this, rip it in 3, and then install it in a manner that we are going to be leaving a gap between the boards. That way, if there's a change in moisture in the air, these boards have the space to expand and contract and won't affect the finished product. So we're gonna take it over to our table saw, rip it in 3 even pieces, and then repeat the process of joining and planning. And for those of you that have not heard the term expand and contract in previous videos, this was a recent concept that we learned. Pine is a type of wood that is constantly expanding and contracting when there's different levels of moisture in the air. I'm not going to go into too in depth on softwoods versus hardwoods, but we will link some videos below that will explain these details further. And as always, we have unfortunately learned this the hard way in previous projects that we've done. So in upcoming videos, we will show you what has happened and how we plan on fixing it. But for now, let's go ahead and finish this design. Legs cut down to size, it's time to start working on the angled cuts that are going to put them together. The first thing we are going to do is get our miter saw and turn it to a 15-degree angle to make the bottom portion of the cut. Then we are going to go over to the table saw to do the second cut. So for phase 2 of this cut, we're gonna try it out first, and then we'll give you the instructions if it works. If it doesn't work, then we'll tell you what not to do. So just give me a second.
Okay. That looks beautiful.
Let's try one more. Okay.
Okay, there's a moment of truth.
If they came out the same, it'll work, right? In theory.
Yeah, in theory. Okay. Wait. Okay.
It worked. It worked.
Really?
The cuts are the same. It worked. After we did the 15-degree cut on the miter saw, we came over and we landed up to our table sled. This is a DIY table sled, which maybe down the road we'll do like a little video on like these little sleds that we've been making since we got the table saw. But basically what it does is that it assures that we're gonna get a straight cut. So we lined up that 15-degree from the bottom to the bottom of the sled, and then we measured 1/2 inch from the corner and lined that up with the blade. We made the first cut, and when we saw that it was where we wanted, we marked the sled, as you can see here, on how the leg needs to go in order to get a repeatable cut. There are other sleds out there that we've seen people do to get repeatable cuts like this, but we don't have the wood to make them, so we're going with this method, and it's worked out so far. We only have 6 more cuts, and we can call this part of the project done. So
yeah, which is like the scariest part.
yeah, so we do them?
Let's do them.
Let's go. So as you see here, we've already marked where the leg needs to go. We're gonna grab the leg with the 15-degree cut, mark it down here, making sure that it lines up with this line, and is flush with the bottom. And then once that's done, we can go ahead and clamp it into place to make sure that this side doesn't move. Once the wood had the angled cuts, we clamped them together and opened a hole going across both legs using a 1/2 inch drill bit. We then added wood glue to a 1/2 inch dowel and secured it into place with clamps while the wood glue dried. As we've said in previous videos, make sure to sand down your wood dowels, as even though they are sold as 1/2 inch, they might be a little thicker than what you will need. We repeated the process for all 4 legs.
So it's another day here, and today's the day we're gonna finally be able to finish these chairs. Emphasis on finally, because we have really big hopes and we cannot prolong this another day. We have taken really long with these chairs, and it's taken quite a while, but I think it's gonna be definitely worth it at the end. Today, we're just gonna be doing the finishing touches, and one of them is gonna be getting this 1x2 and cutting it down to size, and this is gonna serve as a trim that's gonna go around the actual seat itself to hold everything together and give it like a nice aesthetic look on the edges. We're gonna cut this down to size, get these pieces together, create the chair, and paint it, and take it to my parents' house and see if it fits on the island. So with that being said, let's get started, and let's not waste one more minute. So you guys know I'm always in long sleeves, and if you know me, like I'm always in long sleeves, like always, through summer, winter, fall, all the time. This is so embarrassing. Can you tell I use a lot of sunscreen because like oh gosh, I need a tan. Okay, let's keep going.
One more chair, 8 more cuts. Let's go. Okay, so all the miter cuts have been done, and it's time for the assembly. On a side note, we did want to say that as we've been doing these miter cuts more and more, we feel like they become easier and easier, and it really goes back to the saying of practice makes perfect. So if you're struggling with a certain aspect of your project or of your skills, just keep trying. Avoidance is never the solution. So just keep practicing, keep doing it, and as we always say, if we can figure it out, so can you. With everything done, it's time for the assembly. We have everything milled down and ready to be put together. We're going to lay down these three of these boards on their face, create an equal separation using a guide, and then we are gonna attach the trim using our nail gun. Once the trim is complete, we're gonna grab the legs and finish with the assembly, and then finally getting onto painting. Let's go.
So I guess my question is, how did this go to...
What we did was mark the halfway point of the armrest and then take it over to the table saw, as you can see here, and line it up with the halfway point of these legs. And then, making sure that it was leveled, we marked it, how the cut needed to be here, and then we took it over to the miter saw and made the actual cut.
Okay, wait. I guess I have a real question. Do they stand and do they hold?
Let's see. So let's see. We have the leg, which stands.
Okay.
And then you just add the armrest.
What?
It extends.
Okay, so we did one right. We have 3 more to go.
3 more. My math is off. 3 more to go.
Okay, mathematician.
Let's take you to the miter saw and show you how we did it.
Let's go.
With all the legs with the appropriate cuts, it's time to attach the armrests. What we're gonna do is we are going to use a countersink drill bit to go ahead and open a pilot hole down the armrest and then install one of these screws to go ahead and sit in there and attach this to the actual leg. Okay, so we just added wood fillers to the chairs through the armrest holes that's securing it to the legs. We are gonna let the wood filler dry. I think the packaging says 2 hours, so we're gonna let it dry for 2 hours. Come back, give it one final sanding, and then we're gonna go ahead and finish painting the chairs. Once that's all done, we're gonna finalize the assembly, and then just like that, this project will be complete. So let's let that dry, finish this, and then give you a final reveal and an in-laws reaction.
Okay guys, so we're done with everything at the moment, and now we're just gonna be painting the legs, which Jesus is setting up over here. But I have a funny story to tell. So my parents passed by and I'm painting like the chair, and my mom's like, what are you guys making? Like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, we're making some chairs. And she's like, oh, but for where are you putting them? And I'm like, I'm telling you, my mom's on top of everything, right? And I'm like, I don't know, I mean, it's just a project. I mean, we had to do a project and we saw these chairs and we liked them. We're just making them. And she goes, oh. And then Jesus is here with my dad in the garage, and he tries to tell him like, yeah, we don't know what color we want to paint them. Like, what do you think? But we weren't successful. We couldn't get that information out of them. So yeah, so we're going to end up painting the legs black. I know we have 2 reasons to do this. First, because we just like black. As you could tell, everything in our house has been black. But 2, because the island actually has black accents. And we think it'd be nice to make the chairs a little bit different and not identical to the island itself. And it could compromise with the island, but be its own furniture and have some difference and aesthetic to it. So we're going to be doing the legs black, and we're actually going to be painting it with a brush. That way we don't get the gun dirty. But yeah, we're going to do that right now, and then once it dries, we're going to assemble. So
I think they know this is for them.
I have a feeling she knows, because she was a little too asky, but we'll try to get that reaction after. So let's get this done.
We were in the process of assembling and testing the first chair, and we came across our first hiccup. By changing the design, we also changed the measurements of the chair, but we didn't take that into consideration when we were building the back piece for this chair. So now, because we added the trim to the actual seat, there should have been that extra length added to the back piece as well. So we're gonna have to rebuild the back piece, see if we have more scrap wood to do it, and then pretty much repeat the whole process of joining it, planning it, staining it, sanding it, and attaching it. We thought we'd share this hiccup with you so that you see that we also make mistakes, and as a friendly reminder that if you adjust one side of the project, it will eventually affect on others. Okay, so after much searching, we have come to the conclusion that we do not have more wood. In trying to brainstorm a bit and figure out what it is that we were going to do, because we need to finish these chairs, we remembered that we have these. So these are some L brackets that we had left over from when we did our entryway console table, which if you haven't done so, go check out that video. But these didn't work out for that, and we realized that we had them, and I think we're gonna embrace the whole short look. So we're testing them out now, installing them on the chairs, and once it's done, we're gonna show you how this came out.
This is the complete chair assembled, and yes, there are a few little things that were out of the original design, but you know that's what we're trying to master, is just to make things work. This is how it's looking right now. I'm really happy with it. Yes, the back, it's a little bit different from what it was originally gonna be, but honestly, I think it's cool that it's like a different design. So let's get building the other one. So we're in the yard, sitting on the chairs.
And this was a complete success.
Yes, we had a lot of hiccups and like bumps along the road, but we made it work, and that's the important part. It's not about not having problems, because you're always gonna face some. It's about how to getting through them. So,
And remember, if we can do it, so can you.
I like them. I almost considered not giving them away, but thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your support.
As always, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already.
And we'll see you guys next week to see what else we could do with some free wood.
Bye.
Bye.